Good morning, Kingsley Community. Pastor Colleen Wehrman coming to you with another daily devotion for Tuesday, February 2nd, 2021. Finishing up 40 Days of Community by Pastor Rick Warren. We are still in our theme on day 34. We're called to serve together by sacrificing for each other. Sacrificing for each other. 1 John 3:16 says, "We understand what love is when we realize that Christ gave his love for us. That means we must give our lives for other believers." So what does that exactly mean? Well, the writers write, quote, "Serious service requires serious sacrifice." I think many people who go to serve in a church really think it's going to be easy. And you know, I was in marketing, I was in advertising, and I don't like to sell it that way, but it's going to be a sacrifice. Christ sacrificed for us. We need to sacrifice for others. So it's going to take our time, it's going to take our money, or it's going to take either our time, our money, or us giving up something that we want to do for ourselves that instead we do for others. The writers write, "Yet some believers live lifestyles that require little or no sacrifice. They're familiar with John 3:16, for God so loved the world, but they need to be equally familiar with 1 John 3:16. So this is John 3:16, but this is 1 John 3:16. This is how we've come to understand and experience love. Christ sacrificed his life for us. This is why we ought to sacrifice or live sacrificially for our fellow believers and not just be out for ourselves." The Apostle Paul says our work as God's servants gets validated when we give during hard times, tough times, bad times, when we're beaten up, jailed, and mobbed, working hard, working late, working without eating, with pure hearts, clear heads, steady hands, and gentleness, holiness, and honest love. When we're telling the truth and when God's showing his power. When we're doing our best, setting things right. When we're praised and when we're blamed, slandered, and honored. True to our word, Paul writes, though distrusted, ignored by the world, but recognized by God, terrifically alive, though rumored to be dead, beaten within an inch of our lives, but refusing to die, immersed in tears, yet always filled with deep joy, living on handouts, yet enriching many, having nothing, having it all. That's from 2 Corinthians 6:4-10 on sacrificing for other believers, and other believers are the church. So the way you do that is you get involved with the church, small group, and then serve. Whatever it costs to enrich the lives of others on behalf of Christ, Paul considered it a worthwhile sacrifice in Philippians 3:7. He kept his eyes firmly fixed on the prize. He followed Jesus, who could put up with anything along the way, cross, shame, whatever. Interruptions. Sometimes those are holy interruptions. And sometimes we're just like, I'm so busy. Don't talk to me about your life. It could be a holy interruption for you to sacrificially give of your time, which might take away from you doing something else. But that person needed you to talk to them. You and I benefit daily from the sacrifices of other people's. One simple illustration is the building where you meet for your weekly worship service. Have you ever considered how many people have sacrificed so you would have a place to worship? Yeah, these churches weren't there. Ours is 125, 30 years old, added on to, of course. But there are many that came together and built it by hand. Generations before us have sacrificed on our behalf, and now it's your turn to serve God's purpose in our generation. I think about a little church that I used to serve, and they have an old coal area. They don't have coal in there anymore, but they used to have coal furnace. And the back door you would open, and then you'd go in and you'd shovel coal from outside into the furnace and get it stoked up and heated. And there was a little lady that used to do this long time ago. And she would then go back home after she got up at 5 o'clock in the morning to go shovel in some coal and start the church furnace. And why was her husband not doing it, or why were the men not doing it? Because they were farmers. So they were already out working in the chores. Kids were still sleeping. So she goes, stokes the coal, shovels the coal in, gets the fire going for church, goes back home, gets her children ready, serves them breakfast, gets her husband fed, and off they go to church. Sometimes I can't even microwave a dinner for my husband. Poor guy. Oh well, he knows how to cook too. But what I'm saying is that's a big sacrifice just to go to church. And some of us are like, I just don't want to get out of bed. This lady not only got out of bed, probably gathered all the eggs for her breakfast, went and put coal into the furnace, helped her husband probably build the church, on and on it goes. So when you're sitting in your building, even if it's a new building, there were still people that sacrificed money and time to get that built. So many generations before us have been doing this long before we have. So when we whine about serving God because it's going to take away time from our weekend camping trip, so I don't want to sign up to be a volunteer because they might pick a weekend that I want to go camping. So I might not want to be a greeter. Sign up anyway, get the list of the names of the other greeters and switch them if it's a weekend. It's not complicated. But I can tell you what, us pastors can't be everywhere. We can't be greeting. We can't be talking to people and trying to, set up appointments and heaven forbid, get ready for worship. Our Christ-like sacrifice should be, the writers write, voluntary. Jesus said his life was not taken from him, but given freely. Likewise, the first Christian martyr, Stephen, offered up his life voluntarily. That's in Acts 7:59 through 60. That's a good story. You should read that. We may not be asked to die for our faith, thank goodness, but Jesus does expect us to die daily to our self-interests for the sake of others. Number 2, our Christ-like sacrifice should be costly. Israel's King David said he would offer no sacrifice to God that did not cost him anything. That's another good story in 2 Samuel 24, verse 24. Serving God is costly, and the cost is more than just financial. We may be asked to give up our dreams, our expectations, our reputations, and our retirements. Whatever God asks us in order to enrich others. Did you know I used to be sales manager at a television station, made 6 figures? I'm not saying that to brag. I'm just saying that's what I did. And could have retired at probably 55 with lots of stock options and blah, blah, blah. But God called me into the ministry. What? Used to buy $500 suits. Now we give that to the pantry. So what I'm saying is that some of us gave up careers, dreams of financial security, dreams of retiring early. Really, what would I do when I'm 55 and I'm retired? Sit around and eat bonbons? I'd be huge. I work for Christ. That's what I do. And he called me in a different direction. Of course, I ran away for 4 years, by the way, but he's not called the Hound of Heaven for nothing. And he might not be calling you into the ministry, but maybe he's calling you to serve at Safe Harbor, or serve at a local food pantry, or serve by being a Sunday school teacher. My gosh, do we need Sunday school teachers? And you know what? I just love to hear from teachers. I don't want to spend the weekends teaching kids. I do that all week long. Well, that's your gift. Take it up with God. See what he has to say. I remember one lady saying, I just don't want to sing anymore. And I'm like, gosh, that's going to be hard because that's one of your spiritual gifts. But I don't want it. I said, well, good luck with that. Go ahead and try it. Take a break. But God's just going to bug you. He does. Because we talked about that yesterday about each of us have a gift. Some is singing, some is teaching, some is leading, some is organizing. All you little organizers out there, most pastors' desks are a mess. Mine is not. But there's other things I need help with, like finance. Hate it. Okay, so Christ-like sacrifice should be voluntary, costly, and steady. We're to pour ourselves out for each other in acts of love, Ephesians 4:2. Doing for others what they cannot do for themselves. We're to do this constantly and not fits and starts. I'll give you an example. I don't only lead the church at Kingsley United Methodist Church, I'm also in charge of the youth. I know, double duty. However, when there's volunteer time to go and rake leaves or shovel snow, guess who's leading that? Me. Why? We have lots of people that can take kids out that are background checked and safe sanctuaried and safe gathering and all of that stuff because we background check them all. But there's a lot of people, helpers that have good rapport with teenagers that could take them out and do the service work. We only do that once or twice, a quarter. We're going to do it once a month starting in February. But couldn't someone else set that up? I mean, I'm not complaining, but on Sunday afternoon, I'm pretty sleepy. I'm getting old. So is there something that you could do to help your youth leader? Is there something you could do to help your children's ministry leader? Is there something you could do to help your hospitality people? For Pete's sake, somebody make coffee. I don't have time to do that. You know what I did? This is so funny. We have those giant coffee pots that make like 90 cups. So we filled it up to the top, and you're supposed to put 4 packs in, but I was in such a hurry to get ready for worship that I put 1 pack in. So it was watery coffee tea. And people were like, what is wrong with this coffee? And I said, I made it. Maybe there's someone else who could make it correctly. Sacrifice. Christ-like sacrifice. Serving God's going to be costly. So it's going to be, should be voluntary, should be costly, and it should be steady. It should be all the time. It shouldn't just be, oh, I'm going to come in once in a while. But there are families that have, parents have lots of family members, and they're like, how am I going to serve? I have all these little kids. Pick one thing that you could do. One thing out of the year. Help serve at the big event. Easter egg hunt. Vacation Bible school. Maybe there's a big event that you can help with, and you get a babysitter that day, and you do that all day long, and you serve. And then in the meantime, maybe you show up and serve in Sunday school or the nursery once in a while. There's lots of ways we can serve. What are some ways to sacrifice daily? That sounds like a fun list. Give your time to care for those around you. Give your reputation by standing for Jesus. Risk rejection by defending another believer. Support people in your small group who want to go on a mission. Use your vacation time for ministry. I had a lady that she works at Burger King. She knows who she is. She's one of the managers there. And every year she gives up a week of her, I don't know, what does she get, 2 weeks vacation, maybe 3. And she does Vacation Bible School because she loves it. She gives a week of her vacation. I, on the other hand, take a week of my 4-week vacation and I go to Florida. I have yet to be on a mission trip to go to Africa. Please don't call me to Africa. I'll probably get sick. I get sick in Mexico, so don't call me to Africa. Lord, by the way. But what I'm saying is there are people that sacrifice. They give up a vacation week and they serve God. When we're willingly following the command of Scripture to offer our bodies as living sacrifices, Romans 12:1, we discover that serving each other is a central aspect of God's good, pleasing, and perfect will. First, to remember, we must give our lives for other believers, and that means sacrifice, not to die for them, but to sacrifice. What sacrifice can you make that will enrich the lives of many? So what can you do? What is your gift? I can tell you what, I would love to have people call me up and say, hey, you know what? I think I have this gift to teach Sunday school. Is there any way I can do that? You betcha. We'll background check you. We'll put you down there with another leader. We won't just let you go off by yourself because, Lord, that's scary. Or I love to help people at Christmas time. Oh my gosh, we got a giving tree that we do every year. Boy, do we need help with that. I love to do overseas missions. Oh, we have Operation Christmas Child. Wouldn't it be cool if you could collect all the different things throughout the year and have a huge packing party with the youth group, pizza, and do over 100 boxes? 100 kids' lives would be changed with these Christmas boxes. When our community meals get up and running, guess what help we need? It's not cooking the meals, it's cleaning up afterwards. Nobody wants to stay for cleanup. So guess what? The ladies that are in their 70s that cooked it all and stood up and served are tired. I need somebody to wash toilets. I need people to clean the church. I need people to, there are cobwebs in the corner of the church I've noticed, and I'm too short to get at them. So, there's just all kinds of things. And not just my church, just all kinds of churches that you can participate with. Go in, call them, ask them how you can serve. Maybe it's sending Christmas cards out. Maybe it's sending Easter cards out. I had a lady that's going to send out Valentine's cards to all of our shut-ins. Just write a nice little note from the church. She loves it. She's loving to do it. She works all day long, so she can't do things during the day, but she can do that. Isn't that cool? So figure out how you can serve, but realize it's going to have to be voluntary, because a lot of us churches, we're not corporations. We don't have money to hire staff. I know some bigger churches have money to hire staff, but that's just because they have more people to serve and more programming to do. So make it voluntary. It's going to cost you something. And make it steady. Let the people that are helping you with that ministry, that are the leaders of that ministry, know that they can count on you. So I hope this has been helpful to you. So the best way that we grow together and serve together is we sacrifice for each other. So I will see you here tomorrow for another one of our daily devotions. And share this. Somebody needs to hear it.